Hi guys. So today I'm going to film a story time about how my husband and I were forced to get married. And for the timeline of this video, I'm going to be referring to my husband as my boyfriend. So my boyfriend and I, we decided to move in together when we were only about 8 months into a relationship. And when we moved in together, I quit my job that I had been at for 5 years, like my career job that I went to college for and all that. And I moved from California to Idaho. I left my family. I knew nobody here in Idaho. And so I pretty much gave up everything to come and be with my boyfriend because I knew that he was the love of my life. And also, too, just for context, I'm now a Christian, but at this time I wasn't a Christian. So I was going through kind of like an identity crisis at the time. I was so excited because I finally moved out of state and it was something that I had been wanting for a long time. I had a boyfriend, somebody to love, which is also something that I had been wanting. But at the same time, I was going through this transition period. So around this time I was into new age spirituality. Like I was that girl who loved astrology, manifestation, saging, tarot cards, like all the things. I loved it and it was my personality and I felt like it had made me a better person. But around this time, I had like this Holy Spirit encounter moment where people would tell me that it was demonic, and most of the time it would just go in one ear and out the other. But something started happening around this time where I started actually questioning people telling me these things and I didn't just brush them off. So when I had moved in with my boyfriend, 1 month later, I ended up getting pregnant. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't like completely a shock because, we knew what we were doing. And so I was really excited. He was really excited. And I started kind of feeling more, even though I was excited, the hormones and everything, those first few weeks, I started kind of feeling down. Like I missed my family. I had no friends here, like I said, and I was just pretty much like trapped in his room. And he had a bunch of books. Like he loved to collect books. So I went to his bookshelf and I was looking through his books and I found one called Touched. And this book was about it was about this lady and she was a psychic and it was about a mom. So I was like, oh my gosh, like why would my boyfriend have this book? Like he is not into new age. He doesn't even believe in God. Like he's just doing him, living life. So I end up reading this book, and this book is not Christian at all, okay? But this book talks about how a mom, she wanted to know her future. Like just like that simple little thing. She wanted to know her future, so she went to a psychic, and the psychic ended up giving her this power for her to know things ahead of time before they were going to happen. But this power ended up turning into a curse that ended up locking her into her room because it gave her so much anxiety and depression. And the thing that scared me about it was not only did it curse her, but it cursed her baby because she was pregnant at the time with a boy. And I was pregnant at the time with a boy. So this really escalated my process into thinking, okay, is New Age spirituality actually demonic? And if it is, what I'm doing is not actually only affecting me, but it's also cursing my baby. And like, that's the last thing I wanted to do as a parent. Like, the last thing we want to do is hurt our own children. So I started praying to God and I just started asking him, God, what is the truth? Like, what is the truth? I don't even know anymore. And at the same time, my boyfriend wanted me to start getting to know his mom. And she was like all out Christian. And she invited us to a Christian picnic and I went, and for some reason I was like very drawn to it. And my boyfriend was like, you're not about to like sign up for this, are you? And I was like, I don't know, like I just feel drawn to it. But it's so funny because he wanted me to get to know his mom, where we would meet her is every Sunday we would go to church. Like every Sunday he would take me to church because he wanted to support his mom and he wanted me to get to know her. So I'm starting to go to church, and it's so funny because the pastor, like, he would give sermons and I would be like, okay, you do not know what you're talking about. Like, you do not know who God is. Like, all this is just corrupt and fake. And it's just so funny because now, like, me and my pastor have the best relationship. And I told him about this and we laugh about it now. But I was really struggling just thinking about what was the truth. So I'm going to fast forward. I prayed and prayed all through my pregnancy. And when my son was born, God softened my heart. He changed my heart. Like, it was just this 180 moment where God removed the scales from my eyes and softened my heart. And I was like, everything points to Jesus. Peace, love, truth, everything points to Jesus. And even though I don't understand everything and I feel like there's so many rules and I love everybody for who they are, I just feel like Jesus is the truth. So because I felt this, I started getting conviction about me and my boyfriend sleeping together. And we had just had our newborn son. And I have to go over to my boyfriend and I tell him, like, hey, like, I'm starting to want to read my Bible and my relationship with Jesus is growing. And I feel like we need to stop sleeping together and we need to stop sleeping in the same room. And he looked at me and at first he was like, well, it's a little too late for that because we have a baby, and we've been. So, like, for me to now retract that, it was like kind of a shock to him. But my boyfriend, he is the sweetest. He was the sweetest at the time. And he was like, you know what? If this is something that's on your heart, then I'm going to do it for you. Like, I'm going to support you in this. So we stopped sleeping together. So then months passed, like maybe like 4 months later, and my pastor, he decides that he wants to share the gospel with us. So again, like, I'm so excited because I don't even know what the gospel is, the good news. And mind you, I went to Catholic school from the age of 2 to the age of 14 years old, and I didn't even know what the good news was, what the gospel was. So he sits down with us and he does these like 1 hour sessions that last 3 days. So 3 different times we go and visit him. And my boyfriend, again, he is not wanting to do this, but the only reason he's doing it is to support me because he knows this is something that I'm so excited about. So at the end, my pastor's like, okay, so do you want to give your life to Jesus and be baptized? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm all for it. And my boyfriend, he's like, whatever. Like, he still has his beliefs. So weeks pass after, like, I tell my pastor that I'm ready to get baptized, and he hasn't, like, said anything. He hasn't initiated anything. And I'm starting to feel like something is wrong. And that's when my mother-in-law, she's so sweet. She, like, starts coming to me after church and she's like, hey, so I was just wondering, like, are you and Kyle, which is my boyfriend's name, are you guys going to get married anytime soon? And I'm like, you know what? Like, we haven't really thought about it or talked about it, but, like, we do want to get married. Like, we do see ourselves together forever. And she was like, okay. And she kind of, like, left it at that. The next week comes and she asked me again, like, hey, do you guys want to get married? Are you guys going to get married soon? And I'm like, well, like, we don't really have the finances to throw, like, a whole wedding. I just felt like it was a lot of money. And I also wanted to do it on my own terms. Like, I didn't want to be forced into getting married. So then the next week comes around and now my pastor's like, hey, so the reason why I haven't baptized you is because I would hate to baptize you knowing that you're living in sin, knowing that you are living with your boyfriend, not married. He didn't know that we weren't sleeping together, but he just had that conviction on his heart that he wanted me and my boyfriend to get married before he baptized me. So now I'm going to my boyfriend. I'm telling him, like, hey, like, the pastor doesn't want to baptize me because he wants us to get married. And lo and behold, again, my supportive boyfriend, he was like, if this is, like, what it means to be a Christian and you have to be obedient to God in this way, then let's do it. Like, we should get married. It should have been something that we did a long time ago. Like, our son deserves it. He was saying I deserve it. So I was like, Oh my goodness. Like, that's what I wanted to, because I didn't want him to feel forced into marrying me either. Like, what girl wants to feel like her boyfriend is forced to marrying her? Like, no, I wanted him to initiate it so that like, I didn't feel like he was being forced into it. So we decided, yes, like, let's do it. Let's get married. And my mother-in-law and my pastor were both like so supportive. We decided like, oh, we were going to get married 2 days later, but then people started contacting us like, oh, hey, we heard you're going to get married. Like, we want to come to your wedding. We want to come to your wedding. We were just going to go to the court, but it ended up being that my pastor like counseled us. He counseled us to make sure that we were both on the same page, like me and my boyfriend, that our mindsets were similar when it came to like spirituality, finances, children, family, all of those things. And my mother-in-law threw us a wedding. Like, we did not pay a dime, and our pastor married us for free. So it just went to show me that, yes, they were forcing us in a way. They kept asking us that uncomfortable question. I'm sure it made them uncomfortable, but they also supported us 100%. And it was so beautiful. And it was like the most beautiful ceremony. And I'm so thankful that we did it. And I think the moral of the story is, for us Christians, if God puts something on your heart that makes you uncomfortable, like maybe he wants you to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody where he sees your brother or sister living in sin, or maybe he wants you to share the gospel with somebody, that conversation could change their life completely. Because after my husband and I, after we got married, our life dramatically changed, not only financially but spiritually. My husband ended up finding God on his own, and now he has a relationship with Jesus because he chose to, not just to support me. And our son, like, we pray with him. Like, our marriage, our family dynamic has transformed so much us as individuals, from saying yes to God and making our covenant true and honest with God. And it's all because of my mother-in-law and my pastor. Like, who knows when we would have gotten married, if we would have ever gotten married, if it weren't for them having that uncomfortable conversation with us. So that is a story of how my boyfriend and I were forced to get married, but in the end, it was the most beautiful thing that we ever did. And I'm so thankful that we did. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe. I am going to film another story time, and that one's going to be how God gave me my dream job and then took it away from me. So that's going to be the next story time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you did, and I will see you next time. Bye.